Surgical Utopians, and today we are back with another video. We will discuss the anatomy of mandible and the attachments of various muscles on the mandible. I hope you guys are well aware of the parts and the anatomical structures of mandible. So this is our mandible that you see here, and we will quickly have a revision of all the parts. This is our ramus, then this is the neck of the condyle. This over here is our condyle in the pink, the body of the condyle, and the alveolar process. So this is the major structures that the mandible is composed of, or that are present in the mandible. Now we will start with the body of the mandible. Now starting from the anterior structure of the mandible over here, we will see what all structures are present. So this here that you see in the pink is the symphysis region or mandibular symphysis, and this is the junction of the two halves of the mandible, and it is present both on the external and the internal surface. Next you see are these structures. So what are these? These are the mental tubercles, and these are the prominence present on both the sides of the mandible. Next is this structure. This is the external oblique ridge, and this extends posteriorly from the mental tubercle over here. Anteriorly it is present near the mental tubercle, and posteriorly it extends up till the anterior border of the coronoid process. And the muscle that attaches to this structure, that is the external oblique ridge, is the buccinator muscle. This is our buccinator muscle over here, and its origin is from the ridge of the mandible, that is external oblique ridge, and the alveolar process, and it inserts at the angle of the mouth and lateral portion of the lower and upper lips. Now the next structure that we see is over here, that is the anterior border of the coronoid process. So we will select this, and this turns purple. Right. This is the anterior border of the coronoid process or anterior border of the ramus. Then next structure is over here, the angle of the mandible. The structure attaching to the angle of the mandible and the lateral surface of the ramus is masseteric muscle. So this is our masseteric muscle. Over here, these are the superficial fibers, and they are originating from the anterior two-thirds of the zygomatic arch and attaching to the angle of the mandible over here. The next, as you can see, is this. This is the deep fiber of the masseter muscle, and this attaches from the posterior one-third of the zygomatic arch and inserts on the lateral surface of the ramus of mandible. Now coming to the coronoid process over here, this is our coronoid process, and this gives attachment to temporalis muscles. So over here we see the temporalis muscles. The temporalis muscle will attach on the tip of the coronoid process, and some fibers will attach on the anterior border of coronoid process, and it will take its origin from the inferior temporal line. So this is our fan-shaped temporalis muscle. Next comes our condyle. So these are the condyles, and if we see this condyle from this angle over here, we can see that there is a depression, and this is called as pterygoid fovea, and this region will give insertion to lateral pterygoid muscles. So over here we have lateral pterygoid muscles, and you can see that there are two heads of lateral pterygoid muscle. One is the superior head and the other one is the inferior head. So you can see from this angle it is attaching to the pterygoid fovea. So this is our medial surface, and if you see over here, we will start from the posterior to the anterior surface. So this here you see is the angle of the mandible from the medial side, and this gives attachment or insertion to the medial pterygoid muscle. So here you can see that this is the medial pterygoid muscle, and it gets its origin from the medial part of the lateral pterygoid plate. So this is our lateral pterygoid plate, and from the medial surface of the lateral pterygoid plate, medial pterygoid muscle will have its origin. You can see it over here that this is medial pterygoid muscle, and it is having its origin from the medial pterygoid plate, and it is having its insertion on the medial surface of the mandible. Next structure that we see over here is this structure, and this is the mandibular foramen. From this foramen, the inferior alveolar nerve will pass through, which is the branch of the mandibular branch of trigeminal nerve. And this structure over here, this is the one in purple. This is the mylohyoid groove, and from this the mylohyoid nerve and vessels will pass through. Mylohyoid nerve is the branch of the mandibular nerve. Before it enters into the mandibular foramen as inferior alveolar nerve, it gives one branch to the mylohyoid muscle, which passes through this groove and innervates mylohyoid muscle. So here you see that this is the inferior alveolar nerve, which is entering into the mandibular foramen. Then next structure that you see is this structure. Follow the pointer, and this is somewhat S-shaped structure. This is the mylohyoid line, and from this the mylohyoid muscle will take its origin from, and this muscle will form the floor of the mouth. So here that you see is the mylohyoid muscle, and this is the left mylohyoid muscle, and this is the right mylohyoid muscle, and the fibers will intertwine at the midline. The next structure that you see over here is this structure. This is the fossa, which is present below the mylohyoid ridge, and this is called as submandibular gland fossa, and this fossa will lodge or contain submandibular gland. Above this ridge there is another fossa that is called as the sublingual fossa, and this fossa will lodge the sublingual gland. So the mylohyoid ridge is here, and below this ridge there is submandibular gland fossa, and above this ridge there is sublingual fossa. So here we will see the submandibular gland and the sublingual gland, which is present in their respective fosses. Similarly, on the right side, the same structures are present, the sublingual gland and the submandibular gland. Now this structure that you see over here, this is the symphysis menti, and this is the internal or the medial surface of the symphysis that we see here. The next structure is this structure over here in purple. This is the mental spine over here. This is the mental spine, and it gives attachment to geniohyoid and genioglossus muscles. So mental spine or the genial tubercle are 4 in numbers, 2 upper or superior genial tubercle and 2 inferior. From the upper 2 genial tubercle, we have the attachment of genioglossus muscle, and from the lower one we have the attachment to the geniohyoid muscles. So over here if you see, this is the genioglossus muscle, and this gets its origin from the upper or superior genial tubercle. You can see it from all the angles. Another muscle is this geniohyoid muscle. This is the hyoid bone, and this is geniohyoid muscle. So we will just rotate this. This over here is our inferior genial tubercle, and from this inferior genial tubercle, geniohyoid muscle will take its origin and attach on the body of the hyoid bone. Now again, what is left with us is these two structures. These two structures are the fossa, which is present on the inferior surface of the mandible, and this gives the origin to anterior belly of digastric muscles. So over here we can see that is the anterior belly of digastric muscle, which is taking its origin from the digastric fossa. So here if you see, This is your digastric fossa, right? And over here, if you see, this is our sigmoid notch, this concavity over here, and from this, the mesenteric nerves and arteries or vessels will pass through. Another muscle that is attached to mandible is this superior constrictor muscle. This over here is the superior constrictor muscle, this is middle constrictor muscle, and this is the inferior constrictor muscle. The superior constrictor muscle that you see over here will attach on the medial surface of the alveolar ridge posterior to the third molar over here. The next structure that is attaching to the mandible will be platysma muscle. So over here that you see, this is the platysma muscle, and this will take its origin from the pectoralis fascia overlying the pectoralis major and the deltoid muscles, and its insertion will be on the inferior border of the mandible. Few fibers will attach on the inferior border of the mandible, and few fibers will attach over here on the parotid fascia. So parotid gland is going to be present over here, and on the parotid fascia, few fibers will be attached over here, and at this region, these muscles, this platysma muscle will become scanty. So this is our platysma muscle. Another very important region is this, the alveolar process, and on the alveolar process, there are tooth sockets which lodge the mandibular teeth over here. So this was all about the mandible and its attachment. I hope that this video was helpful for you, and that's it for now. So thank you and bye bye for now.